Ladies and gentlemen, how many times have you found yourself explaining your dreams, your choices, even your very self, to people who just don't get it? How many hours have you wasted trying to convince someone to see your vision, only to leave frustrated and doubting yourself? What if I told you that the moment you stop explaining yourself to those who cannot understand, you unlock a power, a freedom, and a focus that can completely transform your life? Today, I'm going to show you why your energy, your time, and your voice are far too valuable to spend trying to make everyone understand you, and how redirecting that energy could be the key to your biggest breakthroughs. Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever felt exhausted, drained, or frustrated because you spent hours trying to explain your choices, your dreams, or your values to people who simply don't understand you? The reality is, there will always be people who cannot see the world the way you do. They cannot see your vision, your purpose, or the why behind your actions. And yet, so often, we expend our energy trying to make them see it. We try to justify ourselves, to defend every decision, to make them understand our perspective. But here's the truth: you are not responsible for making someone else comprehend your journey. When you constantly explain yourself to people who don't get you, you are giving them power over your confidence. You are validating their doubt, their judgment, and their limited vision. You are treating their inability to understand as a measure of your worth. And in that moment, you forget the most important audience, the one that matters most to yourself. You forget the people who support your vision, the people who resonate with your values, and the people who are inspired by your courage to be unapologetically you. Think about this. The world is full of examples of innovators, leaders, and thinkers who were misunderstood. They were questioned, criticized, and doubted endlessly, yet they never spent time trying to convince the skeptics. They focused on the people who saw the same possibilities they saw, the people who shared their mission and their passion. And it was by focusing their energy on the right audience that they were able to create change, influence others, and leave a lasting impact. When you stop explaining yourself to people who don't get you, you start redirecting your energy toward progress, not validation. Explaining yourself is often rooted in fear, fear of rejection, fear of judgment, fear of being alone. But when you recognize that your value is not contingent on someone else's understanding, you free yourself from that fear. You begin to act with clarity, with confidence, and with authenticity. You begin to attract the right people into your life, the ones who are not only willing to listen, but are willing to understand, to support, and to amplify your purpose. And in that alignment, you discover something powerful. You don't need everyone to understand you. You only need the right ones to stand with you. Every time you try to justify your decisions to someone who cannot comprehend your vision, you lose time, focus, and energy that could have been spent building, creating, and advancing. You are investing in the wrong audience, and the moment you stop, you begin to reclaim your time and your mental space. You begin to honor your own voice and your own instincts. You begin to live in alignment with your why rather than in reaction to someone else's misunderstanding. Imagine a life where you don't feel compelled to explain your dreams to the skeptics, a life where your choices are guided by your purpose, not by the approval of others. Imagine the freedom that comes from understanding that your mission is bigger than someone else's comprehension. This is not arrogance, this is clarity. This is the confidence that comes when you recognize that influence is not about convincing people. It's about connecting with those who already believe and creating the impact you were meant to create. You owe it to yourself to stop explaining, to stop justifying, and to stop defending the life you are building. The people who are meant to support you will understand, not because you explained it better, but because they see the same vision, they feel the same drive, and they resonate with the same purpose. Stop wasting your energy on those who cannot get it. Redirect it toward growth, toward action, and toward the people who matter. Because the truth is, your why is strong enough, your vision is powerful enough, and your life is too valuable to spend convincing someone who refuses to see. When you stop explaining yourself to people who don't get you, you begin to realize that life isn't about proving your worth to everyone. It's about expressing it fully to the world. Every moment spent defending your choices is a moment stolen from creating, from innovating, from pursuing the mission that only you can fulfill. And the truth is, no one else can do it for you. Your vision is unique, your voice is unique, and your contribution to the world cannot be replicated by anyone else. So why spend your energy on those who cannot see it? Why allow their inability to understand dictate your confidence, your focus, or your pace? The people who question you, the ones who doubt you, the ones who resist your ideas, they are not the enemy. They are simply not aligned with your path, and that is okay. Misalignment is not a reflection of failure, it is a signal. It is a sign that your energy is being spent in the wrong direction, and that your greatest impact lies elsewhere. Consider the greatest leaders, the most innovative thinkers, the people who have changed the world. They didn't waste their days trying to convince skeptics or justify their every move. They focused on their vision, and they attracted people who understood, resonated, and amplified that vision. That is how change happens, that is how momentum builds, that is how influence is created. When you continuously explain yourself to the wrong people, you dilute your power. You fragment your focus, you weaken your voice. Every explanation is a distraction, every defense is a detour, and every justification is an invitation to self-doubt. Instead, imagine directing all of that energy toward your purpose. Imagine what would happen if every thought, every action, every ounce of effort was fully committed to your vision, without hesitation, without apology, without the need for external validation. You would move faster, you would grow stronger, you would create impact on a scale you have yet to imagine. The truth is, the world is full of people who will never understand your choices, your goals, or your passions. Some will criticize because it is easier to tear down than to build. Others will doubt because it is safer to remain in the comfort of mediocrity than to challenge the unknown. And still, others will simply be indifferent, not because they are cruel, but because they cannot relate. The mistake most of us make is believing that their perception defines our reality, but it doesn't. Their inability to understand does not diminish your vision. Their skepticism does not weaken your resolve. Their indifference does not alter your mission. What you must understand is that influence is not about forcing understanding. Influence is about clarity, consistency, and courage. It is about being so clear in your why, so consistent in your actions, and so courageous in your pursuit that the right people naturally align with you. Those who are meant to support you will see your vision not because you convince them, but because they recognize its authenticity. They feel it, they resonate with it, and they choose to stand alongside you. That is where your energy should go, not on the ones who cannot see it. There is also an incredible freedom that comes with letting go of the need to explain yourself. Freedom from judgment, freedom from doubt, freedom from the exhausting cycle of seeking approval. When you embrace that freedom, you stop shrinking to fit someone else's expectations. You stop muting your voice to avoid criticism. You stop compromising your values to gain acceptance. Instead, you operate from a place of alignment, confidence, and clarity. And in that state, your actions speak louder than any explanation ever could. The people who truly matter in your life, the ones who are meant to walk with you, will understand because they share your why. They don't need an explanation. They recognize the vision because they feel the same passion, the same urgency, and the same commitment. You are not here to convince everyone to understand you. You are here to connect with those who already do, to lead with clarity, and to create impact that resonates beyond the need for constant justification. Every time you redirect your energy from explaining to creating, from defending to building, from convincing to leading, you move closer to the life you were meant to live. You step into your potential, you embrace your purpose, and you become a source of inspiration for others, not because they finally understand you, but because they see what is possible when someone refuses to be confined by misunderstanding. The world needs your vision, your courage, and your unwavering commitment. Stop explaining, start living, and watch how everything begins to align in ways you could never have imagined. Your time, your energy, your focus, they are too valuable to spend on people who cannot grasp the depth of your purpose. Let go of the need to justify yourself. Let go of the compulsion to explain. Instead, dedicate yourself to growth, to impact, and to the people who truly matter. The ones who resonate with your mission will amplify it. They will celebrate it. They will stand beside you. And in doing so, you will realize that understanding is not earned through explanation. It is attracted through authenticity, clarity, and unwavering commitment to your why. Once you embrace the truth that not everyone will understand you, an extraordinary shift begins to happen. You start to see that life is not a competition for validation, and it is not a test to prove your worth to the skeptics. Life is an opportunity to live in alignment with your values, to act from your purpose, and to pursue a vision that only you can bring into existence. The energy you spend defending yourself or explaining your choices is energy that could have been invested in creation, innovation, and progress. Imagine what would happen if, instead of trying to make others see what you see, you invested all of that time into building the life, the career, the relationships, and the impact that you were meant to create. When you stop explaining yourself to those who cannot get you, you begin to attract clarity in every area of your life. Your decisions become sharper because they are no longer influenced by the fear of judgment. Your confidence grows because it is rooted in understanding yourself, not in winning over others. Your focus deepens because your attention is no longer fragmented by the need to justify every step. And most importantly, your sense of freedom expands because you realize that living your life on someone else's terms was never the goal. The goal was, and always will be, to live it on your own terms, guided by your purpose and fueled by your why. Consider this: when you attempt to explain yourself to those who cannot understand, you are essentially trying to teach someone to feel what you feel, to see what you see, and to think the way you think. And while the intention may come from a place of hope or connection, it often leads to frustration, misunderstanding, and doubt. Human perception is shaped by personal experience, values, and biases. No matter how well you explain, there will always be people whose lenses prevent them from seeing the full picture. And that is not a reflection of your failure, it is a reflection of their limitations. Recognizing this distinction is liberating, because it allows you to stop carrying the weight of other people's comprehension and start carrying the weight of your purpose instead. Another powerful shift occurs when you focus on people who do understand you. These are the individuals who not only see your vision, but also feel compelled to support it. They are collaborators, partners, allies, and believers. They don't need every detail spelled out. They understand the essence, the drive, and the why behind what you do. And when you pour your energy into these relationships, remarkable things happen. Your momentum accelerates, your creativity flourishes, and your impact expands. Influence is no longer about persuasion. It becomes about alignment, synergy, and shared purpose. You no longer ask for permission or approval because you are surrounded by people who already believe in the vision you are bringing to life. It is also important to realize that your value does not depend on the number of people who understand you. Your worth is not measured by approval, agreement, or comprehension. It is measured by your commitment to your purpose, the authenticity of your actions, and the courage with which you pursue your vision. When you embrace this mindset, you stop shrinking to fit expectations that were never meant for you. You stop muting your voice to avoid disagreement. You stop walking on eggshells to gain acceptance. Instead, you act boldly, speak honestly, and lead authentically. You create a space where your vision can grow without the constraints of misunderstanding or doubt. Every great leader, innovator, and change maker has faced the challenge of being misunderstood. They have encountered skepticism, criticism, and doubt. But they did not waste their energy on explanations. They concentrated on their vision, their mission, and the people who mattered. And it is this relentless focus that allowed them to achieve extraordinary results. You have the same potential. You have a unique contribution that the world is waiting for, but it will not emerge if you are busy defending yourself to those who are not equipped to understand. When you stop explaining yourself to people who don't get you, you reclaim your power, you reclaim your focus. You reclaim your confidence, you reclaim your life, you begin to live with purpose, clarity, and intention. You begin to invest in relationships that matter, in projects that align with your mission, and in opportunities that amplify your impact. And the most remarkable thing is that, in doing so, you begin to attract more of the right people, more of the right opportunities, and more of the right circumstances. The universe responds to alignment, not explanation. It responds to action, not justification. You must understand that every word spent explaining yourself to the wrong person is a word that could have been used to build, to inspire, to lead, and to create. Every moment spent defending your choices is a moment stolen from your progress. Every ounce of energy spent on validation is an ounce taken away from purpose. When you redirect that energy, when you choose to invest in clarity, courage, and authenticity, you unlock a level of freedom and potential that is transformative. The life you are meant to live is not determined by who understands you. It is determined by who you are, what you stand for, and the vision you are committed to bringing into the world. Stop explaining, stop justifying, stop defending. Focus instead on creating, leading, and living in alignment with your why. The right people will follow, the right opportunities will appear, and the impact you are meant to make will unfold naturally. And in that space, you will discover a truth far more powerful than explanation. When you stop trying to be understood by everyone, you begin to be unstoppable. Once you realize that you no longer need to explain yourself to those who cannot understand, a profound sense of liberation begins to take hold. You start to notice how much mental energy you've been wasting trying to justify your existence, your ambitions, and your choices. Every time you attempted to convince someone of your vision, you were placing their perception above your own purpose. You were giving power to someone who never had the capacity to see the full picture. And that, my friends, is a subtle but dangerous trap. When you operate from the need to explain yourself, you are letting someone else define the boundaries of your life. You are shrinking your potential to fit within the limits of someone else's understanding. But the moment you stop doing that, the possibilities for growth, for creativity, and for impact become limitless. When you release the compulsion to justify yourself, you can finally focus on what truly matters. You start to invest your energy into actions that produce results rather than explanations that produce frustration. You begin to spend your time building, creating, and innovating instead of defending. Your focus sharpens because your attention is no longer divided between your mission and someone else's skepticism. And your confidence grows because it is anchored not in approval but in clarity of purpose. You begin to trust your instincts, to honor your intuition, and to move boldly in the direction that aligns with your deepest values. One of the most powerful shifts that occurs when you stop explaining yourself is the ability to recognize the difference between noise and signal. Noise is everything that distracts you, questions you, doubts you, or resists your vision. Signal is everything that aligns with your purpose, reinforces your mission, and moves you forward. When you spend your time trying to explain your actions to those who do not understand, you are allowing noise to dominate your attention. You are giving the wrong people influence over your focus, over your mindset, and over your decisions. But when you stop, when you choose to focus on the signal, you begin to operate with clarity, precision, and efficiency. You begin to attract the people, the opportunities, and the circumstances that support your vision rather than obstruct it. It is important to recognize that being misunderstood is not a failure. It is often a prerequisite for greatness. Every transformative leader, every innovative thinker, every bold creator has faced misunderstanding. They have been doubted, criticized, and questioned endlessly, but they never wasted time trying to convince the skeptics. They focused on the people who shared their vision, who understood their why, and who resonated with their mission. And that focus, that dedication to purpose over explanation, is what allowed them to build movements, change industries, and leave legacies. Misunderstanding is not an obstacle, it is a filter. It separates the people who matter from the people who do not. Another remarkable realization comes when you stop seeking validation from those who cannot understand. Your worth is not contingent on approval, agreement, or comprehension. Your value is not determined by whether someone else sees your vision. It is determined by your commitment to your purpose, by the authenticity of your actions, and by the courage with which you pursue your goals. Once you embrace this, you no longer feel the need to shrink to fit expectations, to explain yourself, or to justify your choices. You operate from a place of power, clarity, and self-respect. Your energy is fully yours, and you can use it to pursue the life you were meant to live. Freedom, real freedom, comes when you let go of the need to be understood by everyone. It is a liberation that allows you to focus on creating impact rather than defending your choices. It allows you to align your actions with your purpose rather than with someone else's perception. It allows you to trust that the people who matter, the ones who are meant to support your journey, will recognize your vision without needing endless explanation. And in that freedom, something extraordinary happens. Your confidence becomes unshakable, your momentum becomes unstoppable, and your influence expands naturally. Consider the relationships in your life, the opportunities in your career, and the projects you pursue. How much more could you achieve if you invested your energy in alignment instead of validation? How much further could you go if your actions were guided solely by your purpose, rather than by the need to be understood? The answer is clear. When you stop explaining yourself to people who cannot get you, you unlock potential that was previously trapped by doubt, distraction, and approval seeking. Every step you take without explanation strengthens your clarity. Every action taken without justification strengthens your confidence. Every moment spent focused on your purpose rather than defending it strengthens your momentum. And as you continue down this path, you begin to notice a pattern. The right people naturally find you. They resonate with your vision. They amplify your impact. They become collaborators in your mission, not critics of it. And that, ultimately, is how influence is built, not by convincing skeptics, but by living authentically and attracting those who already believe. The world does not require you to be understood by everyone. It requires you to be fully committed to your vision, relentless in your pursuit, and unwavering in your authenticity. Stop explaining, stop defending, stop shrinking to fit someone else's comprehension. Focus instead on creating, leading, and living in alignment with your purpose. The people, opportunities, and impact you seek will follow naturally, and in that alignment you will discover a power far greater than any explanation could ever provide.